we used to believe that the state had a responsibility to provide for all its members. That's what the welfare state was all about. And now we live in a dog-eat-dog society where the weakest are demonised and persecuted.
Yeah, I told you he drove you.
That's a step backwards which we need to reverse. We need to build a just society, a juster one than I remember growing up in, which was very, very racist.
So we're on a coach, part of 4 coaches going from the West Midlands for the Stand Up to Racism demonstration, and there'll be people from all over society joining in the demonstration, and we're all going to be saying stand up to racism, stand up to fascism, no to Islamophobia, and no to anti-Semitism.
I came to this rally today to say stop, to stand up the racism and fascism, to call upon the UK government and some press to stop misrepresenting the Romanian nationals.
I'm absolutely sick to death of the politicians like Farage and the far right stirring up hatred across our society to divide us. We have to stand together because we should be very proud of the fact that we have a wonderful multicultural society, and by standing together we can have a better world.
We had an open letter in Hackney to get people onto this demonstration, and we went to a couple of the mosques in the area to ask if they would sign the open letter, and they both said that the reason why they weren't against the idea of doing it, but they said at the moment our congregation, all it wants to do is keep their heads down because they're frightened about what's happening. They're intimidated about all the propaganda about Muslims being horrible people and so on, and that's what it's like. So you've now got a situation in this country where large sectors of the population, particularly in cities like London, are frightened to come out onto the bloody streets. Now I find that absolutely bloody outrageous, and it should be stopped.
We're here to show unity against all forms of racism. We all stand up and speak out against racism.
In 2013, the Home Secretary created a series of policies which he said were aimed at creating a hostile environment for illegal immigrants.
I mean, at least Islamophobia is being whipped up, isn't it, by the government, and there's a racist agenda going on, not just from the UKIP, but from the Tory party as well, and to some extent from the Labour Party too. You know, I mean, it's outrageous really, but that always happens in times of austerity. In hard times, the racist agenda is always trumped up because, you know, they're taking your jobs is an old cliche, but you know, it's brought in by the political parties always when times are tough. It's the Jews' fault, it's the blacks' fault, now it's the Muslims' fault. Don't listen to them, don't listen to politicians that try to divide us. We're one, all of us, you know, united, as we are one race really, you know, we're all Palestinians today really in a way, you know, we're all Muslims today, we're the oppressed people of the world.
Well, my colleague and I were discriminated.
Racism is there in all walks of life, and we really have to fight it. You know, at the moment, because of the austerity, the people from migrant communities are being blamed, and you know this just isn't on. You know, we all at the ground level, we all know each other. We all get on with each other. We look out for each other. We even marry each other. So all these people who want to kind of blame migrants, divide us and rule, that just is not on. Because historically, people have always moved, races have always moved. If we have planes flying all over the world, aren't people going to mix? Aren't people going? So it's nonsense to have racism in a ever smaller world. So, you know, this just doesn't make sense. Any racism or fascism doesn't make sense in tomorrow's world. And the tomorrow's world is here today in London for everybody to see.
It's important that we come together to show that racism is not okay. It's not okay to scapegoat foreigners or immigrants. It's interesting that when Europeans are in other people's countries, they're called expatriates. But here they're called immigrants and illegal immigrants and all that. It's a global village and we should be able to move around and work and share our cultures, etc.
Taking the streets is probably the most important thing because it makes us visual. It means that the majority of people who are silent because they are going through whatever they're going through or aren't recognizing that the discrimination they are facing is a small part of a larger picture. You know, all of those things. If we're not going to be vocal now, what does it mean for the future?
Country is built upon migrants. We had the worst colonial history, apart from a few other places in Europe. People are standing over there saying Britain first, Britain for the British. Not even British themselves. They all come from migrant backgrounds.
It's a verdict that was solely introduced in this country at the hands of the police.
5 days of the year. Those are terrible figures. They're figures that call for action, not inaction.
Of getting that job, there are not many Fatimas and Alis.
Young people should stop being apathetic and join it and realize that it's worth standing up together. And solidarity actually works.
One thing I can say is we're living in a right-wing state, and it's out to get you and it's out to get me. So watch yourself, watch your fucking actions, and make sure your voice is heard. Even if it's just one voice in front of a million, you need to make sure your voice is heard.
People don't think their voice counts. But do you know what I mean? If we all stood together, everything will get done.
Respond to my community.
They can't do it properly.
He abstained on the first one, which was radical given they voted for any others. But ever since, it's been